He found just some simple instructions that were left or that were provided at the time when this was built. Um, really simple stuff. Just kind of speaks to, I think what I outlined in the document that, and this is like the admin section. Um, you're able to go in and like create a session. I guess an
Okay.
overall session would be like the definition of an instance of an evaluation period, right? And
Okay.
then, you're able to set up assignments, right? So this integrates with our Active Directory.
Mm-hmm.
So, you should be able to select somebody like, okay, Tom Garfinkel, our CEO, we want to have him evaluated. And then since it's integrated with Active Directory, um, the org structure is kind of comes in so we can see his direct reports, right? So they could immediately say, okay, I want to, add his direct reports, and then all those people get added. I want
Okay.
to add, then I want to add some other people, and they can be added.
Okay.
Um, and then, you know, they need the ability to, if someone is a direct report type, um, in some cases, you know, if they don't have a lot of direct reports, even though, because we want to anonymize the responses, you're still going to be able to see like the type of person, that responded. And if you only have like one direct report, it'd be pretty obvious who submitted that. So
Right.
what they need to be able to do is, okay, if you add somebody as a direct report, they need to be able to like change that's the type of person, right? To just like assigned. So it's more generalized, and in that way, a little bit more obfuscated that you know it wasn't your one direct report and a bunch of other people. It was just a bunch of people, and you don't know who's who.
Okay. So let me clarify that. So if I was reporting to you, let's say,
Yeah,
and the admin is creating a session, right? And so I'm evaluating you. So he adds me in this, right?
yep.
And then he adds me as add as assigned. So what you're saying?
Yeah, so you can see here, like, if you're Brandon Shore, right? You're the
Uh-huh.
person that's being, um, evaluated, right?
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, actually, no, in this case, you're not Brandon Shore. You're Jeremy Walls.
Okay.
You're being added as the subject of the
Okay.
evaluation,
Okay.
and then we need to add from the org chart other
People that report
people,
to him.
your
Yeah.
supervisor, your direct
Mm-hmm.
reports, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe other people that we might want to evaluate you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I'm saying is if Jeremy only had one direct
One.
report,
Right.
Patrick Arthur, right,
Right.
and everybody else was assigned, even though at the end of the day, like everybody's submission is going to be anonymized, you're still going to be able to see the type of person that responded, and I'll get into why later. So if you saw one person, one direct report responded, well, I know I only have one direct report, that's Patrick, so you'd be able to figure that out real quick. So what we want to be able to do is to be able to change the type of person to whatever we want it to be,
Okay. So the
if
type.
necessary.
So when you're actually adding people for review, I mean, to review a particular person,
Yep,
we can select a different type. So the types basically can be probably whatever you guys define.
changed. Yeah,
Probably.
they be defaulted to what they are based on the org chart, and then
Right.
you
And then
should
you
be
should be
able to
able to
change
change them.
them. Yeah,
Okay. So
and the reason why
who's
that
sorry? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the reason why that happens is, or why that's so important, is the logic of how you are evaluated. So
Right.
he kind of built this really quick, simple example. Like
Mm-hmm.
so basically, it's a 40-person survey, a 40 question survey.
Okay.
Each question is a like a Likert scale, basically a 1 through 5 response, question or answer. where you're rating someone on this particular attribute, whether they're least effective, less effective, as effective, more effective, or most effective at
Mm-hmm.
that. So you're going to get a 1 through 5 for answer for
Right.
every question,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is a formula that weights your responses based on the type of respondent, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so like your supervisor score uh, is like 40% of your overall score. A direct report would be only like 20% of your overall score, and a coworker would be 40%, right? So that's why it's important to know the type of person, even though you're not going to know who it was in your results. You're going to know what type of person it was because that goes into how the score is calculated. So in this case, question one, the supervisor rated you a 3, a direct report rated you a 1, and a coworker rated you a 5 on question one. When we go to calculate that weighted average, it's the supervisor score times 40%, the direct report score times 220%, and the coworker's score times 40%, which gives you a 3.4 weighted average on question one.
Okay.
And then that goes to basically across the board, your supervisor averaged out to 3, your direct reports averaged out to 3.25, your
Right.
coworker averaged out to 3.4, and then
Okay.
your overall score averaged out to a 3.21.
Right. So there's basically that those formulas defined for each report what the
Yeah.
weightage is for each question basically.
Yeah, let me bring up, let me see if I had it up.
And if you change the category, we change the type to something else, right? Just to make it anonymous. What is the weightage there? So if you have
Right,
even if you have like 3 direct reports, you may want to anonymize them by choosing some other type, right?
right.
So should
You
this
probably want to choose a type that's like, you want that you're not skewing the results that more. Basically, here's an example. So this was my um, evaluation back in like 2019 or something, right?
okay?
You can see the scale here listed below. So the weighting is, like I said, in general, it's 40 supervisor, 40 coworker, 20% direct report.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you have less than 3 direct reports,
Okay.
in that case, it is your direct report plus any coworkers is 50% of your score, and then your supervisor's evaluation goes up from 40% to 50%.
Okay. Okay.
So that's where the weighting comes in. And
Okay.
then yeah, so then you get like an average rating by the type of person, your overall weighted average. And in this case, the questions are grouped, right? There's 40 questions. I think they're grouped into uh, 5. They're grouped into 5 overall categories, I think, something like that.
Okay.
So like in the innovation category, I
Mm-hmm.
averaged 2.87 based on the responses. And then we also want to compare your score against the overall weighted average. Like, so everybody's responses in the innovation section averaged out to 3.43, everybody's evaluations. So in this case, 2.87 average versus the 3.43 overall.
So basically, everybody else got 3.43, and
Everyone all together as a whole group
uh-huh.
averaged out to getting a 3.43 average rating in
Right.
innovation.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 2.87
Got it. So when you say
rating.
the group, all the people that are being evaluated in this system. correct?
Everybody being
Okay.
evaluated in this session. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, in the session. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So yeah, this will be okay, formulas plugged in, but definitely as we develop, I think we'll have some questions on this.
Yeah,
So
and it's actually a lot simpler than I actually thought it was,
yeah,
to be honest with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Once he kind of just like put this simple calculation together, I was like,
right.
oh, you're
Yeah,
just you're just weighting the scores and then you're
right,
averaging them. Okay,
right.
I thought it was a lot more complicated than that.
Okay. And if you choose the type to anonymize, if you choose the different type,
Hmm.
you should still use the weightage of the um of the designation, I guess. Right. So for
Yeah,
example,
so then yeah, if they choose the types, right?
okay.
Once they've set, I guess, a cohort of people to evaluate,
Mm-hmm.
then you determine which formula you use, right? So in this case, Jeremy Walls has more than three or more direct reports.
Direct reports.
So he uses a 40-40-20
Right,
scale.
right.
If Jeremy, like I said, if Jeremy only had Patrick Arthur as a direct report and everybody else was a coworker, and then you came in and you were like, well, I need to change that to coworker. You're now going to use the 50-50.
Right,
You're going to
right.
use supervisor 50%, everybody else 50%.
Yeah. Um, but let's say you still choose to anonymize this instead of saying direct report. If you choose some other type to anonymize it, basically,
Mhm.
the system should know that he's a direct report. For display purposes, maybe it doesn't show direct report here in the type, but you should still use the direct report weightage, I would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only scenarios where you're going to change the type is when there's only
One
like
direct report.
one or
I
two
see.
direct reports.
Okay, okay, so no issue
Then
with
after
that.
that, if there's three or more, then it's going to be somewhat difficult to figure out
Yeah,
who scored who, right? You
who's
know,
good?
one of the three people did, but you don't know which one,
Who? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's really more probably in the scenario where there's like one direct report where they're
Right.
really going to change it.
Right. So, okay. So this formula side, I mean, it's what do you call assigning the formula and just making the calculation. So that's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward. Um, but so when you log into the system, basically the admin logs in and sets up a session is what you call, right? They set up a session. So it could be
Yep.
anytime, right?
Yep. So he's basically the admin's going to come in, basically say, okay, we've been asked to do an evaluation, so we're going to add a session.
Okay.
Going to name it, a campaign session. It's the same
Right.
thing. We're going to name it something. In this case, in this screenshot, he called it,
Right.
2015
Mm-hmm.
VPs, right? No comments. I don't know what that means. But yeah, and then you're going to say, okay, this is the 2015 VP session. Now I need to add, people that are going to be subjects, people
Okay.
that are going to be
Mm-hmm.
evaluated.
Yeah. So you
And
pick
then
all of them.
for each subject, you need to add assignees,
Okay.
people who are
Got it.
going to evaluate that subject.
Got it.
You do
So,
that for everybody.
mhm.
One thing he doesn't want is like he doesn't want like as soon as you add someone like an email notification to go out
No, 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 no.
immediately. Um, he actually said he would probably just end up like setting everybody up and then like sending a link out,
Okay.
to people individually. But I think it might also be a good opportunity to like build a function to like say, like a button that says, okay, invite all,
Right.
assigned or invite individual assignees.
Right.
I think that could be, nice to have, but he said he's most likely just going to like send them a link, a personalized email.
Okay. So he wants to do the personalized email himself outside the system, or he wants a button to be sending it out?
He said he probably wants he probably would do it himself, but I want to give him, and he actually did have a button. There's a
Yeah.
button here where you can email all assignments.
Yeah.
So I want to
Or
do the
just
same
individual.
thing.
Right. So the way I would look at it is you add the session, you add the subjects, and then
Yep.
you pick all the reports or whoever you want to evaluate these subjects, right?
Yep.
So you could have in one session, you could have multiple subjects, right?
Yeah,
which means
he want within the session, multiple subjects. Yep,
like, so which means each subject will have one or more people evaluating the subject,
correct.
right?
Yep.
And now you should be able to send out an announcement that goes out to all the what do you call
All the people, subjects and the assignees.
oh, all the subjects also get the email?
Subject, you have to evaluate yourself too.
Okay, so the subject gets the email, all the people who are evaluating also would get an email, right?
Correct.
And that link basically takes them to their evaluation.
Uh, Takes them to the evaluation. Yeah, that they need. Hmm.
Right, so
I would say it takes them to a home page
okay,
that shows all the people that they need to evaluate
yeah, so
because
you may be evaluating 2 or 3 people, so you should get
yeah,
all of
exactly.
those. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, if someone ends up having to evaluate like 10 people, we shouldn't send them 10 emails. You
right.
know, it's all right,
Here is your evaluations. They log in. Once they log in,
right.
probably we show them the session with
Yep,
under that session all the people that they need to evaluate.
exactly.
And I mean, they can probably pick a different session
Yep,
because you may have many sessions going on. So
yep,
for each session, you show all the people that they need to evaluate.
exactly.
And then when they click on that evaluate, then we present them with the questions, all the questions coming in, right?
Yep,
And then they answer those questions, they
yep,
submit,
yep.
or they save as draft
And
and submit.
yeah, let's save his draft as well because
Yeah,
people are busy.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
them start the evaluation, then pick up where they left off.
right.
Yeah, when they save as draft, we will still maintain, in the background, the database will still like maintain like who's the
What?
evaluator, which evaluation they were on, which one they're doing, right? And what, I guess the status of that evaluation is like in progress or something like that.
Right.
Um, as soon as you complete the survey and hit submit, we need to anonymize that evaluation. So
Okay.
the person that was assigned to it should be cleared. We should still maintain the type, like in this case, like Mike Tannenbaum is the evaluator. When he submits it, we should clear Mike Tannenbaum's name, but his type supervisor should remain. So we should know that the supervisor submitted it, but we shouldn't see the name.
So when we go to the responses, basically, when we're
Yeah,
looking at a session and I'm picking a subject and I see all the responses, I only know what type they are. I don't know who it
yeah,
is.
yep.
Okay.
And it's funny because the supervisor, you do know who it is, regardless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You only have one supervisor, so it is what it is. I think you're more concerned about,
The uh,
people under you,
yeah.
you
If
know,
you're evaluating yourself, it's your thing basically.
exactly. And
So
your supervisor, but your supervisor is above you, so it
yeah,
doesn't matter if like they have the power over you, right? But your direct report, you have the power over them, so we don't want you, holding that against them if they don't evaluate you.
right.
It's
Right.
as well as you expected.
So does it have an expiration date of by when you should complete it?
I don't think so.
Okay, if I say
However, that might be nice. I think it'd probably be based on like a session. The session might have like a deadline.
deadline, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
Trying to think, trying to see if there's anything. I don't see anything, but I think it would be good to have a deadline because then we could maybe build in some functionality, like to remind people
Remind people, yeah, that's what I
if
was
they
thinking.
have any open evaluations and the deadline's approaching.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
if I send you an evaluation and if you don't do it for like 2 months, then I think I mean that may not be the way they want it. I would guess, but
yeah.
yeah, we can confirm that. Then the other thing I was thinking about was so now okay, I answered all the questions, okay, and I'm done. Now can I go back and see my responses in the future or not?
Um,
If I log in, I
I,
know I've
I would say no because if you would be able to do that, then then we're not really anonymizing it, right? Because
I see.
we would have to have some way to associate that evaluation back to you. And if we can do that, then we know who you are.
Okay, so once the responses are done, we calculate the scores, and then
Finalized.
just boom,
Yeah.
that's it. It's gone. It's
Yeah.
vanished.
So we definitely should warn them, right? When they go to submit, like, your responses will be anonymized. You won't be able to change this. Are you sure?
Right.
Yes or no.
Right. Do you do you want to at least show them that you did a survey at this time, submitted a survey for this subject without showing the answers, because there'll be a history of what they've submitted without showing any details. I mean, it's like if I log in,
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine, okay, I evaluated, I mean, there were like 5 sessions that
Correct.
did evaluation for 3 people or 5 people, basically. Or that history doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters, to be honest with
Okay.
you.
It's just gone, it's just blank, basically. Only when there's an active session, they can see that active session. Everything else past is probably wiped out.
Yeah, I think both from the user perspective and the admin perspective.
Mm-hmm.
From a user perspective, it's really like what open evaluations do you have
Right.
remaining?
Okay.
And then even from an admin perspective, I don't think you want to, if you're really truly trying to anonymize it, I don't think you want to have a list here that says,
Right.
yeah, completed, and the rest not completed, because then you could just go find that one completed, thing and say, oh, well, Jeremy was the only one that completed it. That's his, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, even on that side, it's like
So from the
for
from
when you're
the
looking at
from
an evaluation like a subject, you should really only show the people that have not completed the evaluations, like open assigned.
what does open assigned mean?
I think in this case, it's probably a list of who hasn't completed. So I
Completed.
think
Okay.
you still want to maintain like who was assigned to evaluate Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
That list is fine, but you need a separate list to say who has not yet completed
Okay.
their evaluation. But
Okay. So some kind of a
you can include in that list who has completed the evaluation,
okay.
because
Only
that
yeah,
could help
only
you
who
to
has not. Okay,
figure out
got it.
who is who.
Right. So okay, just to um, rephrase this in my own words.
Hmm.
So when a session is opened, you get an evaluation and you complete it. And once you complete it on your screen, when you log in, if you don't have anything else open, it's all gone. It's just, we just say
Yeah,
no open
there's
sessions available at this
nothing to do at this time or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But from an admin perspective, basically, the admin can see um, who has not completed the evaluation for that particular session, for that
Right.
particular subject, right? Now, let's say the evaluation completes, everybody has done, okay? All you would see is for this session, for this subject, the scores.
For the types, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to present there. I mean, basically, you're trying to get some kind of a score for that particular subject, right? That's what you want to get finally.
Yeah, I wish there was more. I wish there was see, he has a reporting link. I wish I could see what the first page of that reporting page looked
But the
like.
but the report that you just showed for your evaluation looks like they are
Yeah.
giving the subject the full details about details and anonymized details, right? I like
Full
this.
details of the scores, but
Scores.
like supervisor, again, clearly there's only going to be here. There's one response, right? So clearly, he knows who submitted that.
Right.
Again, self, that's you. But there were 8 team member coworkers who submitted evaluations for me. I don't know who they were. I just know there were 8 team member coworkers.
Right.
So I think in a similar manner, if if you're an admin, um, looking at like the status of who has completed evaluations or not,
Yeah, I mean, but this report should be available, right? We need to be able to generate such a report.
Yes, yes.
And how does this report get transmitted to the or sent to the person?
Well, in this case, it generated like a PDF, and I remember it's a long time ago, but I think
Yeah,
they like sent it out by email or whatever.
right.
Like
So the
they
admin,
downloaded the PDFs of everybody.
so the admin basically, when he goes to a particular session, he can see the report for each subject like this
Yeah, it should be able to generate a report, right?
report.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now, I mean, just a thought here. I mean, what if he just collapse the supervisor and team members into one bucket so you can't even tell who's given you what?
This, well,
That's
that's a good question.
that's probably a HR question, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because they wanted to maybe make it clear about the 40% or versus 50%
yeah.
weighting.
Okay.
That'd be my only guess why it's separated.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know.
Okay. So now the questions basically, so let me go to the next thing. So who defines the questions? Are they standard? Are they there is a question bank? What
There's a
is
question bank, yeah. So I was logging in. I think there's just a set of questions that um, they've provided. I don't know if they're going to change them or not, but I could go in there to the database.
so they should be able to add new questions and things like that, I would guess. Categories,
Yes,
questions.
but there still needs to be, yeah. I don't know how crazy it needs to get in terms of going to be 42 questions, going to be 44, or will there always be 40? I don't know about that, but I guess we should give them that flexibility.
Okay.
Try to find here's the questions table. This is actually, I think, this isn't even just their general questions table. It's like
Yeah.
a question for this session, this category. Because there's an active. Hmm, interesting. I don't know what the is leadership versus not means. A question about leadership, or is it a question that only leadership gets? I think it's a question about leadership because, yeah, you can see here there's 40 questions in this one session,
Yeah.
session one.
Hmm.
Let's see, let me just confirm. Where session? Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So it must be like a flag about like it's a question about leadership. I don't know why that matters or not. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. So we could use the same schema, I think, right? We already have the database schema established.
Yeah, I would definitely try to hew as close, pretty close to the original schema. I mean, I'm willing to, move away from it if it's like, oh, this would make it so much better, right?
Yeah. I
But
mean,
I don't think we're trying
it's
to like reinvent the wheel
yeah.
necessarily on this.
Hmm. Start with whatever we have there on the database schema and add
Right,
or remove columns, tables as needed.
right. Trying to
Okay.
see if there's anything that mentions leadership versus. I mean, I obviously have code as well. Oh, there you go. Items with leadership dimensions. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And another thing is this reporting, definitely a lot of opportunity here to make it more digestible um, for users, but I think that's something that we can maybe take on internally and try to figure out um, a better way to represent this information. The biggest key is going to be making sure we get the site up and be able to capture the values.
Right.
Um, and then maybe we just, for a phase one, we just build the report as is. So at
Yeah,
least we have that, and then maybe internally as a data team or whatever, we work
right.
on,
Yeah, Power BI and all that. So
yeah, improving it.
yeah. Okay.
There's
So
no visuals.
yeah, yeah. So okay. So we have the schema. So can you I don't think I need it at this point. I mean, actually, it may be helpful for us to estimate the kind of. I mean, I have a rough idea of the screens that need to be done. So definitely logins, multiple sessions being available, multiple people being added, and subjects and evaluators basically and all that. So why don't you get me the database schema as well if you can? Would you be able to export that somehow? I don't know how, or if you can give us access to the server, maybe that's probably I can have one of our guys, log in and take a look at the schema. Or is there a way you can? I think there's a way to export the schema, right?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Actually, yeah, there's a way to export the database itself. I mean, my team has done it many times, so um, that'll be helpful. So, or give us access to the server, and we can just get in and look at it. And so we have um, I think we need to put together some wireframes, designs, development, the whole thing, basically, except the database schema. I think rest everything has to be built, right?
What do you mean?
So, so we don't have. I think we need to start with the wireframes of how the thing looks like. I mean, at a high level, then put designs to it, right? As to what icons, what text boxes, how the screen is presented in like Figma or something like that.
Hmm.
Get that approved, and then go to development. So I think there's multiple stages I think we have to go through.
Right.
Um, unless unless you guys want to do the design, you have internal designers to do that.
No, we wouldn't. We'd be looking, to basically do the whole thing from design
Okay.
to
Okay. Okay.
deployment.
Okay. So we talked about the brand guidelines. Is there like fonts, colors? Is there anything like that available from the web people, the people that maintain the website probably would have it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily worry too much
Not too
about,
much about that? Okay.
because it's an internal application. So,
Okay.
I mean, as long as you throw like the Dolphins colors on there, it's probably
Yeah.
all you need to do. Like,
Okay.
you can see this thing wasn't all that fancy to begin with.
Okay. So we can just go to the website and just pull the colors and all that and use the same thing, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, not trying to go crazy on this project, right? Like, would probably want to keep the team somewhat small. Like, if you got someone that could kind of like cover most of the bases and maybe just throw a designer on there on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
that'd be great. But like, again, this isn't the most complicated thing. It's literally a survey with a report on top of
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I would keep it relatively simple. Even in this database, like some of these tables are not, like this isn't even a real table.
Yeah. Some of them
Um,
may not be used at all, actually.
this one has like one record in it, which looks
Okay.
like it's calculations. I don't even know what that even means.
Hmm.
Um, so like you're looking at a table, a database that probably has like 8 or 9 tables,
Yeah.
right?
Probably we can get rid of the ones that are unused or whatnot.
Right. So again, it's keep it as simple as
Yeah.
possible while maintaining the functionality. The
Yeah.
biggest thing is the integration with Active Directory.
Active
So,
Directory. Uh-huh.
the org chart, all that stuff kind of comes through. Um, being able to host it in Azure. having full documentation and ownership, of the code. So we want you to deliver that code in a package, like in a pipeline. Um, you know, if you got someone who can build it like in DevOps, so that we can just use a Git repository of the code.
Yeah.
And then build that simple reporting function, that it has today,
Right.
which is basically, exporting that PDF, and then, we could see if we can improve that at all. But yeah, that's
Okay.
kind of it.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, why don't you send me this as well? Whatever. I think you already sent me
I
this.
sent you this.
This
Yep.
you send me the other one. I mean, the one
Yeah,
that
I'll send you the instructions, and
instructions.
then
Yeah,
the simple calculation in
calculation. Yeah,
Excel. Does that
yeah,
help?
and yeah, you
That's,
had some screenshots, right? I mean, so that'd be helpful as well. So,
yeah, that was in the instructions that I'll send.
oh, you did okay. Oh,
That was in
the
the instructions that he had gotten, back in 2015, when this was first launched.
oh, this
So
one
he's
was
seen.
included in the thing that you sent.
No, this is I just got this
Okay.
a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
days ago.
yeah, yeah. Why don't you send me this as well,
Yeah,
and that calculations, and if you can pull the database, please do that, and then we will give me time till next Friday. I'll get back to you with some kind of estimates. I need to.
yeah. Anything you can do, like, I don't want to say this needs to be like super expedited, but
Okay.
it's really more of, we're coming up at the end of the year. If our CEO was to get, his ears up about doing this again, it would probably happen in the next month.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's just kind of come back up. Like, do we even have this available if he wants to do it? He hasn't done it in 3 years, 4 years. So it's like, we don't know. It's just more like, we don't want to get caught with our pants down.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll get back to you in about, say, max week or 10 days probably. If I don't respond by next Friday, I'll let you know. The
Yeah, so
following
guys,
week.
yeah, even if you could do it even quicker than that, like just a general, like, yeah, you don't have to build it all out and design it all. Like,
No, no.
just talk to
I'm going
someone,
to.
and like, talk to your guys and be like, guys, how quick do you think we can do something like this?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do. I was going to
Yeah,
get some estimates of time and all that, and I'll get back to you and I'll say, okay, I mean,
yeah,
we can do it in 2 months, whatnot, whatever. The cost is going to be this much, and then you guys decide what you want to do.
yeah. And I'd like to see if we could turn it around within a month. So
Okay.
yeah,
I
I guess
mean,
keep
mhm.
lean on the side of keeping it simple, just getting a basic, site up and running.
Okay.
It doesn't need a bunch of bells and whistles. You just need to be able to complete a
Quickly get in
survey
there
and
and just
get a
answer
score.
some questions.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Let me get back to you by next week, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
That's good. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. You too.